All I can say is that the fake news just doesn't get it, do they?
They don't, and they created so much of the crime problem, actually, in America, which is real. It is getting worse, and they don't know what to do about it. Now those responsible, they can't blame Washington, but that's what they're trying. They really should look in the mirror. Want to talk about New York? The implications are national, but 5 police officers have been shot in the past 3.5 weeks, and 1 police officer was killed on Friday night. We had his partner there, Wilbert Mora, was seriously wounded. They were responding to a domestic violence situation. We have an immediate crisis in New York. But guess what our public officials, our leaders are going to focus on? The root causes, you know, the systemic stuff.
We must address the root causes of these challenges.
Later this week, I'm going to roll out my plan to deal with the underlying reasons that we're facing such a surge of violence in our cities. We're going to go after the underlying reasons you're seeing crime in our city. And that is the plan we're going to roll out this week, with a very clear understanding of dealing with the underlying reasons that we're seeing an increase in crime.
Underlying reasons, underlying root causes. Where have I heard that before? Another administration that really didn't want to do anything about a problem that they helped create.
We are focused on addressing both the acute factors and the root causes of migration.
The root causes of migration.
Dealing with root causes? You can't say you care about the border without caring about the root causes.
Dealing with the root causes of migration. We better care about the root causes. The root causes.
You want to know the root cause of the crime problem in America right now? The root cause they're not going to address in their phony baloney panels or anything else. The overreaction and the overcorrection to George Floyd. George Floyd. Now, this should not have happened. But we should not have tried to cancel the police department and reinvent society ever since this horrible thing happened. And that's what happened. Reinventing society. How can anybody burn down a police station and say that that's okay? The corporate media put their stamp of approval on all this. This treatment of police officers, that was somehow okay. And a then presidential candidate who was riding the wave, thinking that if he went along with it and even encouraged it, he'd get to the White House.
I don't think you have any law enforcement. You can't even say the word law enforcement, because if you say those words, you're going to lose all of your radical left supporters. And why aren't you saying those words, Joe? Why don't you say the words law enforcement? Democrats that run these cities don't want to talk like you about law and order.
Violent
and you
crime,
still haven't mentioned. Are you in favor of law and order?
I'm in favor of law. You follow.
Are you in favor of law and order? Go
yes,
ahead.
I'm a,
you asked a question, let him finish.
Law and order. Law and order.
Let him answer.
Law and order with justice, where people get treated fairly.
With justice. Now, that sounds great, but that's code. That's code for the far left, crazy dialogue, defunding police. He endorsed that idea during the campaign, and pandering like the career politician he is, going to the George Floyd funeral, sending that special video message. And the lessons that he took from there, these are damaging. It has to be said, I'm sorry, there was an overreaction and an overcorrection to the George Floyd matter, helped along by Joe Biden and all of his cronies.
I also spoke to Gianna, George's young daughter, again. When I met her last year, I've said this before, at George's funeral, I told her how brave I thought she was. And I sort of knelt down to hold her hand. I said, Daddy's looking down on you, he's so proud. He said to me then, I'll never forget it, Daddy changed the world. And I told her this afternoon, Daddy did change the world.
Well, not for the better. I'm not going to blame George Floyd, but I'll blame the corrupt media culture, our warped way of doing things in America, that somehow this could be sanctioned. Firebombing police cars, and those responsible in the wake of George Floyd don't go to jail. Don't go to jail. We have January 6ers who did not hurt anybody, who did not break anything, who are in solitary confinement. The rioting that we saw, and corporate America, again, putting their logo on it. So enter this very complex stew, a guy by the name of Eric Adams, our brand new mayor in New York. This is not a serious man. He is doesn't have a lot going on upstairs. I've been familiar with this guy for a couple of decades, and we're in trouble here in New York. He came to party. He didn't come to work. Yes, he was a police officer for a while, and those who don't know him were very impressed by that.
The fact that Eric Adams was a cop for 22 years really works very heavily in his favor.
The public safety thing has become a huge issue in New York. You have someone like Eric Adams, a former cop, focusing almost, I shouldn't, maybe not exclusively, but focusing heavily on that issue.
He's got a whole different swagger. He's a former beat cop and ultimately a captain in the PD.
For 22 years, I wore a bulletproof vest and stood on the street corners and protected children and families in the city of New York.
He's a hero. Just ask him. He's actually quite vague about what he did. I mean, he wore the bulletproof vest, but then what? What actually happened? It's unclear. Look, this guy joined the police department. According to him, it was an opportunity to go in and just aggravate people. Just aggravate people. Those who knew him, those who worked with him. This was like Al Sharpton, by the way, joining the police department. That was his mission. Chief of Patrol, a man by the name of Wilbert Chapman, said Eric had used the police department for political gain. He wasn't interested in improving the police department. You could see that very early on in his career when he ran for Congress as a police sergeant. This is a guy who is always in it for himself. And here's the proof. What politician talks like this?
Show me the money. Show me the money. That's what it's all about. We deserve more money. We deserve to be paid for the job we're doing.
Senator Adams, I believe you've made your point in the 2 minutes. How do you vote?
I deserve a raise.
All right, so when he talks, he gets into trouble. And the left-leaning media, they know that about him. They also didn't want to go after him when he was running for mayor because, quite frankly, he's black, and that would have been awkward for a lot of the white reporters. So they couldn't have him speak too much, so they bent over backwards to take care of him.
We're going to start tonight with something a little bit different. Candidates, we've all heard your campaign speeches. Now we want you to make your case to a few specific groups that are critical to New York's recovery. We're calling this the 30-second elevator pitch. This is about selling your idea quickly and powerfully. Think Shark Tank. We'll begin with a pandemic-related question for Ms. Morales and Mr. Yang.
So it's a debate, ideas, and they're telling to speak like commercials. This benefited Eric because he's not an effective speaker, as you just saw. When he does speak, he says the wrong thing a lot. And oh, by the way, he becomes mayor of New York City while living in New Jersey. Yes, New Jersey, next door, documented. Now, it was covered, but not aggressively. You know, just one story here, one story there. But we can't really call him out on not living here. They didn't. They didn't. And in the end, he does become mayor. But we got such a screwy city here. 8 million people, dominated by Democrats. 8 million people. What percentage of them voted for Eric to be mayor? 3.16%. He got 30% of the primary vote one day in June. And through our system, he becomes the mayor. It's crazy. And now that he is, what did he do? What did he do? He partied. He partied. Now, he essentially knew he was going to be the next mayor 7 months ago because Democrats always win here. He partied. He took up shop in a sushi restaurant and just met with celebrities. And then he went on vacation to Ghana, Africa. I don't get it. If I were about to be the mayor, I'd be working hard, but he went over there and had somebody wash his feet. Yeah, some sort of ceremony over there. They washed his feet. I have heard of people washing others as a sign of, respect and service. But anyway, he got his feet washed. And then I guess he smoked a lot of weed with Stephen Colbert, I'm not kidding. You know, de Blasio, as bad as he was as a mayor, had the decency to be discreet about his pot smoking. He'd do it alone, and he'd publicly deny it. This is what we're living with now. Why this happened? It's true.
One of my best gifts, as you know, marijuana is legal. I have raw.
I did not know.
I have raw.
I am not aware, Mr. Mayor. I'm not into that scene.
I have bamboo.
Oh,
these are
big.
And I can't give you this gift. I'll give it to you later, you know.
Isn't he cute, huh? Again, smoking pot as the mayor. Great example, right? And when he's not on talk shows, he's walking around town trying to make his own viral videos. You know, look at me, here I go. I'm going to the fruit stand tonight. They all want to be AOC. They all want the followers. They all want the likes. They all want the money, especially this guy. And when something really happens, I mean really big, like 2 cops getting shot, what do they do? Or how about this? His first day on the job, all he could do was call the police. All that law enforcement experience. Someone's getting beat up a half block away from him. He doesn't respond. Why not? Retired cops do that all the time. He had no cops with him. He decided he didn't need them that day. He called 911, like I did 5 times last year. So when something really happens, what do these guys do? Symbolism. Go for a walk.
How we looking, Matt? Listen, we're walking down the street here in Harlem on Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard, and I'm here with the Chancellor. Hey, what's up, brothers? How y'all doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, we're on our way to the 32nd precinct, the 3-2, to just show solidarity with those officers. You know, the trauma of violence.
Solidarity, a photo op, again with the photo op. We've got a big problem in this city. Hey, one word about the shooter who killed a cop on Friday night and grievously wounded the other. There he is. He was active on social media, liked to post things from someone called Uncle Murder. And these images were all over his Facebook page. It's interesting.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.